JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. May 29, 2024. Going to talk about the market, some of the names I'm looking at, talk a little bit about HPQ, DELL, and go from there. But take a look at the futures are falling. The hit highs right at the close yesterday, and it looked like the S&P was almost like it was a continuation from its end of day rally, which pushed it into slightly into the green close. And then it's been kind of a melt ever since, and selling kind of picked up here. So we'll see where things set up here. I put it on the watch list at 524.50, 525 on the SPY. If we break under that, I might look for hedges again like I did last week. Always be hedging, right? So at the same time, you look consolidation since the move mid-May over that 525 handle. Um, the thing, I guess, the underlying factor right now is the yields, and it's kind of, I guess, it snuck up on everybody yesterday. Big rise in yields and a little continuation today. If that trend continues, then you'll start seeing some of these momentum names maybe take a breather, and then we get PC data on Friday, so that could probably add some fuel to the fire to the bears if that comes in hotter than expected. I don't think that's going to be the case. Maybe just some consolidation here before the next leg, but certainly not going to rule out more downside. So that's the SPY. I say this a lot too. I actually prefer red days, red opens into green closes. Well, more so when I'm not in positions, but even when I am, it tends. I hate to see reversals from highs into the red. That just how, I don't know. It seems like days are better when we have reversals off the lows, and it kind of bodes well for more gains down the line. Buyers are there, right? Support. So hopefully we see that today reverse. I don't know if we're going to get into the green, but we sold off pretty close yesterday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So let's see, where did we hit at 520, 527. So we're just a little bit off that. All right, so that's the SPY. DELL, nice little article in the Wall Street Journal, and then I posted some on the watch list about NVIDIA from Market Watch. Just says a lot of clickbait, and I call it clicks and giggles. That's pretty much all these NVIDIA articles. Today, one of the articles was how close NVIDIA is now to Apple's market capitalization. They haven't been this close since 2009. Meanwhile, in 2009, Apple was a 69 or what, I don't know if it was $89 billion company. No, I think it was a $69 billion company, and NVIDIA was a $3 billion company. Now you're talking trillions, right? Uh, Apple's 2.9 trillion, NVIDIA's like 2.8 trillion. So it's kind of comical how they kind of phrase that. It makes it seem, oh wow, Apple must have been 69 billion and Nvidia was probably 67 billion. But no, it was 60 billion off in valuation. 20 times it was valued, actually more than that. So it's funny how they spin it just so you can get clicks on it. But anyway, DELL hit more all-time highs yesterday. Nice piece in the Wall Street Journal, which is a lot of stuff I talked about back when it was 115 bucks. And now you can see the FOMO kick in it. The NVIDIA, it's its prime personal and business computing partner, and it's going to continue to be great partnership. And then DELL, which if there's any supply issues, they're probably going to be first in. They're going to be first in line. So it just bodes well. They have a huge backlog. That's probably going to be much bigger when they report earnings tomorrow after the close. I mean, pending what it does here, I wouldn't be surprised if we do have a pull at the open. Maybe it gets down to 160. I might look to get some bounce calls for some premium build into earnings tomorrow, with the possibility of either locking some in to cover cost or closing the calls and revisiting Friday morning. But like the DELL setup here, I thought 165 when it was down in the 130s. Now maybe it's 185, maybe even higher considering the NVIDIA beat. So that's DELL. Added those HPQ calls yesterday. Again, not a name I've traded quite often. On the Microsoft had their event. HPQ announced a new line of AI computers, higher battery life, things like that. They're not. I said on the rant yesterday afternoon, it's not like they're not DELL, right? But I don't think much of any of the AI is baked into the stock. I think it's been churning around for the last 2 years. I think it decent report sends it higher, and even 35 or so. The calls are inexpensive on a risk reward basis. I was actually looking to get some more strikes yesterday. I'll just sit on my hands today, wait for the report to come out, and then if it's 35, 36 tomorrow, I'll look to get some strikes to play for move into the 40s in the coming weeks. But I think there's going to be a lot of these names that really haven't taken off are going to start to get their eyes and get eyes on them. You know, SMCI started to go bonkers, and no one really looked at Dell, and then people started looking at Dell, and Dell took off. If there's a decent report, and you know, the big words, the buzzwords now is the refresh, right? And this morning there's a note out around Apple saying the AI refresh in the phones is going to be once in a lifetime. You know, that's the big phrase coming out, similar to they used to talk about AI. I think now it's going to be the AI refresh. And HPQ, I have to think that it's going to at least benefit. They say there's going to be a slowdown in China based on demand issues, things like that. But I don't even think it's about the numbers right now. I think it's going to be about their guidance. So really like HPQ. And I think before it really starts to move, that's when the premiums are low and you can use that as an opportunity to get in before the premiums start getting elevated. That's that. Turns finally start to look like it was going to break out a consolidation. I mean, it's been sitting here since the start of May between 550 and 650. Needs to find a little kick here. I mean, it's gonna be tough with the market, but hopefully finally could break out, get some momentum, and then all it's going to take is a little bit of a move, and people are going to start they're going to start chasing it. So really like turns. Not much to add on VKTX either. I was looking for the weekly strikes. Nice move yesterday, right about 11 o'clock, went from 63 to 66. Then it chopped around pretty much for the rest of the day. If it shows some more strength today, maybe I'll look for some weekly strikes. Otherwise, I'll just continue to hold my June hundreds. CGC rough session yesterday, down 7% under its 50-day moving average for the first time since mid-March. Kind of disappointing. They report earnings tomorrow morning, and similar to what's going to happen with HPQ, I think it's a lot of around what they're going to talk about, the forward statements, right? Their numbers last quarter weren't so good, but stock still took off. Similar, I think as long as their commentary is decent, numbers are somewhat in line, and then they're painting a rosy picture. I think it revisits the tens, and hopefully it's the kickstart it needs to really start to get going and back over that 15 handle hit at the start of May. And then I talk about always be hedging. So last week was AVGO, Broadcom, and MDB. Those are my typical names that I look to hedge because they sell off with the market, or even they more so than the market. They're highly sensitive momentum names, or at least high multiple names that when market sells off, they market sells off 1%, they're down 2-3%, or MDB 5-6-7%. The unfortunate thing, well, not the unfortunate thing, MDB reports earnings tomorrow after the close, so their premiums are expensive to play. Yeah, not the irony, but it closed down another 4% yesterday. My puts on Friday, the 345s, which I sold for nice gains, would have been, it closed at 332. Well, it hit 332.50. So a day later, it was $12 in the money. It just goes to show you how funny it is after the day after expiration. But on the flip side, you know, Broadcom after the pullback last Wednesday and Thursday, it's sitting here at 1400 again. Broadcom, you start looking at 50-day moving average at 326. It seems like that's the magnet. 1325 puts look pretty inexpensive on a risk reward basis. So I'll be watching that as a possible hedge. ZS, which I had as a put hedge a couple months ago, that's down near multi-month lows. So looking at that as well. And that's about it. Let's have a great day, folks. I'll be back on later. Rock and roll.